Hello and welcome to another live streaming event by Rick Miracle Me. I was hurrying up getting ready for the show and I'm a minute or two late. But it doesn't look like anybody's watching. How's the video? How's the audio? So today I want to continue a conversation I was having yesterday. July 3rd, August 3rd. I really am off to a slow start this morning. August 3rd, 2018, 12:04. I was getting ready to start the live streaming and I couldn't find my glasses on the desk. So apparently Linda says you're coming in good and clear. Well, Linda, did you see the live streaming event I did yesterday on the channelers? Channeling. Do people believe that's real? What are we to believe? Who are the entities communicating with all these people? Well, you can watch it. Do you know what channeling is, Linda? Takes a moment for me to get the sentence out. Good reception for watching. Well, I'm going to try a different camera eventually. Been playing with my iPhone. That seems to do extremely well. Actually, so well it's a little embarrassing. You can see the hairs on your face. So Hugo, did you see yesterday's channeling live streaming event? Linda? So you are familiar with channeling. Do you think it's real? And I know that when I speak, it doesn't get published. Linda says they're demonic entities imposing as your known contacts. Well, there you go. So now I know what I'm going to talk about, which I was going to talk about anyways. I have a series called Freemasonry and Satanism, and I'm up to 209 in the series. Almost 500 videos, a lot of them 2 hours each, 700 plus hours since September 2013. And I covered all kinds of topics. So last year, one topic I had not reviewed with making book reviews, something I was aware of and I had a few books, was channeling. So I got on this little spree last year and went to some effort to collect some of the books, read some of the material. Anyways, I'll just go over some of the books really quick. The Seth book with Jane Roberts. You can see her in some kind of trance there. Quite interesting to listen to her on the YouTube videos. The Nature of Personal Reality by Jane Roberts, author of Seth Speaks, a breathtaking new view of reincarnation, Seth Reviews. Another one that's popular, Manifest Your Desires, 365 Ways to Make Your Dreams a Reality, by the authors of Law of Attraction and Ask and It Is Given, by Esther and Jerry Hicks. So the Jane Roberts in my series was 125, and 126 is this book in my series. Manifest Your Desires. So I read directly from the books. A sample of the stuff in this one. Once you have made a decision, that nothing is more important than that you feel good, and you have decided that you are going to consciously look for some things to appreciate today, the object of your attention has now become a feeling of appreciation. You have now established a circuit between you and the object of appreciation that the law of attraction will begin working on immediately, so you will start seeing more things to appreciate right away. So I was trying to find the common denominators, whatever these entities are saying through these humans called channelers, psychics, mediums. Here's another one that's interesting. Cryon 2000, Passing the Marker, Understanding the New Millennium Energy, Cryon. And that's with Lee Carroll. And the reason I think this is important, because like in Lee Carroll's case, this is how many books he has out there all over the world. That's no small effort in the languages all over the world. That's that one page. I wonder if there's more. Some of the titles in the contents: Time and Reality, Packing for the New Millennium, Passing the Marker, The End of the Old. Like I said, you start getting these similar common denominators. Crossing the Bridge of Swords. No more fence sitting. You see what they're saying to people? No more fence sitting. The Journey Home. The Interdimensional Human. Series 123 in my series. You can go watch my videos, me reading from these books. And if you feel so inclined, you can go watch videos about these authors. And looking at my comments here. Anyways, Hugo says, no, did not see the entire yesterday's podcast. Channeling with CIA agent Dr. Stem Cell E.T. Greer, or am I confused? I had Stephen Greer, a little bit about him, but the video was more than that. I'm going through some channelers, popular ones. Mark Howard, finally I got you live. Sharky Waters from New Orleans. Wow. I'd love to be down there eating some seafood, listening to some music. It's one of my plans for my future. All right, so Hugo says, I know nothing about channeling. I must look up. Well, listen to this live streaming event and you'll get some good clues. Anyways, one thing, or I should say one of many things here, but another author is something called the Pulse of Creation series. I don't know how many people have ever heard of this. So they got all these books. The Voice of Eros, the Pulse of Creation series, Ernest Norman. The Voice of Hermes, the Pulse of Creation series, Ernest Norman. The Voice of the Muse, Elysium, Uranus, Ernest Norman. The Pulse of Creation series. And the Voice of Orion, the Pulse of Creation series, Ernest Norman. So he was an engineer, and he became quite famous for, I guess, his channeling of all of these entities. And he wrote all these books. I think there's more. That would be Series 134 if you want to go look that up. But even if you can collect that series, I wouldn't be surprised if it's eventually a valuable collection. And sometimes on the used book sites, you can buy them really cheap. Linda says, Greek mythology? Apparently these people were claiming they're contacting entities in this reality. Another one that I made a video on, and you can go look this up free online. There's a website just for this. The Ra material, The Law of One, by Ra, a humble messenger of the Law of One. And there's your Egyptian hieroglyphics. Series 122 in my series. Here's a good one. Messengers of Deceptions, Jacques Vallée, a well-known author, UFO Contacts and Cults. Series 121. So my point is, I've been doing some homework on this topic for years. Oh, my pile of books fell over. I made videos on this. I think people should go watch it. Major Trends in Jewish Mysticism. Gershom Scholem, an expert on the Jewish mysticism religion. Series 120. Another one by Jane Roberts. Dialogues of the Soul in a Mortal Self in Time. Drawing by her husband, Robert Butts. Jane Roberts, author of The Seth Material Speaks. Picture of her. Quite famous in the time, the 1960s. This book was published 1975. Gotta pick up my books off the floor. Another one that's popular, Ramtha, A Beginner's Guide to Creating Reality. An introduction to Ramtha and his teachings. So Ramtha is the entity being channeled, and J.Z. Knight is the one who is channeling it. You can see the name on the top here by my finger, J.Z. Knight. A Beginner's Guide to Creating Reality, Ramtha. Series 132. Sorry about that. I had such a stack of books here. Another one by Jane Roberts. The Unknown Reality, Volume 1 of the Seth book, by Jane Roberts, author of Seth Speaks. Notes and introduction by Robert Butts. Series 125. And I try to get all of the collection when I do this. The Unknown Reality Volume 2. Big, thick book. And of course we have other books like Tex Mars. The Dark Secrets of the New Age. Satan's Plan for a One-World Religion, Tex Mars. He's quite popular. I've gone over a few of his books. The Further Education of Oversoul 7, a novel by Jane Roberts. I haven't read this one yet. Here's another one of her books. The Magical Approach, a Seth book. Seth speaks about the art of creative living. Like I said, you have to pay attention to the common denominators. Manifest your reality. Get ready for a huge change in our society. 11/11 phenomenon and its light workers. I see it all the time. 11's everywhere. There are some weird things going on, Hugo. Uh-oh. Hugo says, I know the answer. I'm off my meds. Anyways, this is something I want to talk about because of what I'm going to read. But the Philadelphia Experiment, Project Invisibility, William Moore, Charles Berletz, the startling account of a ship that vanished and returned to damn those who knew why. Does anybody know about the Philadelphia experiment? And then Project Montauk. Philadelphia experiment was series 78, by the way. And that's where they put these microwave transmitters all over the ship. They wanted to see if they could cloak the ship so that the enemy's radar couldn't see it. They didn't anticipate the ship actually becoming invisible and the electromagnetic radiation creating a portal like a time machine and transporting the ship, if not physically, in time. Because remember, supposedly, the Earth is moving in a circle and hurtling around the sun. So if you subtracted it from reality, the Earth is moving forward and in a circle. So it's all kind of weird how time machines would work. But apparently it did work. And it returned to its location. And some of the humans were stuck in and out of the bulkheads. Go watch my videos on that. Quite fascinating. And there's a lot of other evidence I have that electromagnetic energy has these strange effects. Even in the Book of Oddities and many other books, like whales popping up on the in a field in Kansas. Knowing what I know now, it must have been a series of lightning strikes in the ocean, again causing a vortex, transporting the whale. Like Jacob's ladder, where you have the two poles, and the electricity goes. If you've ever seen a picture of a Jacob's ladder, if you haven't, go look it up. But it's two poles, metal poles, with electricity arcing back and forth like a spark plug. But it goes up the ladder, and if you drop apparently something through it, it'll reappear across the room, according to one researcher, engineer, scientist. And then Project Montauk has something to do with this. At the end of Long Island, with Preston Nichols and Peter Moon. I know people don't want to believe in this stuff, but these people are publishing the books. I've been reading all the books, and I've been getting some kind of believability. I've read so many that, of course, there's more to reality than we all know. Quantum physics, even our bodies are not solid. If you get an electron microscope, I'm made up of atoms and molecules and particles and all that stuff, electricity. So can they do something like in Star Trek, beam me up, Scotty? Will that be something that's real in the future? Who knows? But these books are out there, Series 77, and apparently the government has been into this kind of research for quite a while, and they picked it up from the Germans after World War II, when they grabbed all those scientists hooked up with the different cults like the Thule Society, Vril Society, who were apparently communicating with some kind of beings from the invisible reality, even maybe the center of the earth. What are we to believe? Then I listened to Nikola Tesla standing on stage saying he's not the genius we all think. He's getting visions and hearing things and dreams. Somebody, he said, is telling him. So like I said, if you get enough information and enough and enough and enough, when do you start to believe that maybe there's something we should know about? And maybe the powers that be do know about it. I'm talking about Project Montauk. I'm talking about abducting young boys from Connecticut, Massachusetts, Western New York, and using them in these experiments, creating these electromagnetic portals, maybe time tunnels to the past or the future, and pushing the children through, hoping they will wander back into the portal so they can ask them what they've seen on the other side. And generally speaking, they did not wander back through, so the Lord only knows what happened to those poor children, where they were pushed into. And maybe it was nothing but something that disintegrated them. I don't know. But there's books to show, many books on the Philadelphia experiment, about the ship and the people. Alexander Bruce and Peter Moon, this is Series 76. Montauk Revisited, Adventures in Synchronicity, like 1111, Preston Nichols, Peter Moon. Series 75. So you can see I spent a little time on this topic. The Black Sun, Montauk's Nazi-Tibetan connection. So after World War II, they brought these scientists over here to the United States at the end of Long Island and other places, Area 51, etc., Pine Gap in Australia. And it's some kind of cult like the Vril Society. Look at the child with the wings. And the Black Sun, Series 74. So these are fascinating book reviews to watch, and maybe I'm not the great speaker, and you can go look up other sources. I just want to get the message out there. There seems to be more going on, and it involves electromagnetic energies and other kinds of natural sciences they call witchcraft, some kind of physics we all don't know about, and invisible entities, whatever you want to call them, from another dimension, from another planet they want us to believe. Transylvania Sunrise, Series 73. So apparently these guys were walking around the Busigi Mountains in Transylvania, Romania, and they found this little latch. And one of them tried to open the latch into the mountain, and he was instantly disintegrated. The other guy went and got help, and they got a bunch of scientists and military people out there and found a way into the Busigi Mountains in Romania. And apparently there were some electronics that could produce holographic images of Earth's past and other things. Somebody was recording everything happening on Earth, according to that book. Not trying to convince people this is true or not. Anyways, the chairs and tables were so huge, it made we humans look like little children. We couldn't fit in the chair or see even to the top of the table. So whoever these entities were, they were giants. And even in the Bible, you have the Elohim, fallen angels from God's world, finding the women fair, as it says in the Bible. And the story with the Anunnaki, the same thing. The Book of Enoch, the same thing. So many of this stuff has common denominators if you look into it. Anyways, they mated with the women, and they had an offspring that were giants. Elohim mated with human women, and the children were hybrids, and they were giants called Nephilim. I made a video on that. Another one. Blue Blood, True Blood, a personal story of Stuart Swervelow, with excerpts from Belief Systems Shattered by Janet Swervelow. Belief Systems Shattered. Common denominators here. So he talks about he was part of Project Montauk and some other high-tech government programs. And he tells all, it's kind of unbelievable, you think? Another book on the Philadelphia Experiment and other UFO conspiracies. Brad Steiger, Alfred Belak, another person involved in the Philadelphia Experiment. Sherry Hansen Steiger, I suppose Brad Steiger's wife. Been reading these books. Interesting, you can go online and find the Phoenix Journal for free. There's a couple websites. 120 books like this. You can get the PDF form. But apparently they were communicating with some kinds of other beings. Psychopolitics and the Sacrifice of the Phoenix. 120 books like this, all in PDF free online. Or you can go and use Bookstore and start collecting these books. So you take that, and here's another one. Tuning In, more about channeling. David Thomas Matthew Klink. A journalist interviews 6 trance channelers and messages from the other side. And I collect books, and I think this is connected too, by the way, this New World Order, New Age, and globalism. But this book here is, just to show you how far back this goes, 1920, A Guide to Zionism. People don't want to believe Zionism is real. Now, when you think about the Jews and Moses escaping capture, slavery in Egypt, and Moses learning magic from the Egyptian, being raised as an Egyptian, if you know the story. It's in the Bible. There's movies out about it. And he did the plagues and the other magical events, parting the sea even, to help the Jewish people, Hebrews, get away. And then when they got to Mount Zion, Moses went up to the mountain, spoke to the burning bush, bright light, got the 10 Commandments, so they tell us, but also instructions on how to build a golden box with the cherubim angels on top, which housed this being called the Ark of the Covenant. And then they would open up this box like the Indiana Jones movie, if you ever seen it, and the lightning would come out like spirits, like a Ghostbusters movie, and kill all the enemy, the being in the box. And so return to Zionism, they want to rebuild King Solomon's temple, which was housing this box that you could open and would go out there and fight battles for you with this being. And the Babylonians destroyed the King Solomon's temple once. The Romans destroyed it twice. Both times the Jews were dispersed. And now they are returned, called Aliyah, and they gave us World War I, World War II to bring it about, 9/11 to kick off the game for the final quarter. Kill all the Arabs. Samuel says, greetings, Rick. Greetings. Another Rick fan here, thank you. So the Zionism in this New World Order, CERN with all the crazy things going on there, all the satanic rituals apparently dedicated to these beings. And here I just was grabbing some material for my opening in this video, and I noticed a current edition of Nexus magazine, and the top, I haven't read all of this yet, I've been so busy, but the top cover here says a lot about today's live streaming event. Nexus, the alternate news magazine, is reality an illusion, time travel, multiverse, and the Mandela effect, a Facebook future for mass manipulation, UF disclosure in the media, ancient Harmonians of Australia, light therapy for Parkinson's, energized water, and the rise of artificial intelligence. A lot of things I talk about. This is probably, the new edition's probably available at your local Books A Million or the other big box bookstores. But if you have, they're $6. So you kind of can get a glimpse into people writing books about the things I talk about. All right, if you can remember everything I just talked about, I have something to share that's going to make sense and contribute to this line of thinking. So yesterday's video, I talked about the channeler Wendy Kennedy. I looked at a couple of her videos and I took notes. I wrote a lot of the things she said down. And the other one was Christine Melorisi, channeling Lord Metatron in yesterday's live streaming event. And Nancy Kennedy was channeling the Pleiadians. So I think, I'm going to continue with these different channelers. I have a whole big, thick book of them, as you can see the tabs here, if I can get in the picture. So I have probably 50 or more popular channelers. And if you look at the view count on these videos, a lot of people are into this. More than Alex Jones on InfoWars and a lot of popular people who make videos. a lot of people are into this channeled material, listening to what these entities have to say. So what do they have to say? So the next one I'm going to do is Barbara Marciniak and the Pleiadians. And I've done book reviews on some of her books. Bringers of the Dawn, Teachings from the Pleiadians. The computer does things backwards. And Earth, Pleiadian Keys to the Living Library, Earth, Barbara Marciniak. Series number 60. So I thought I would try to find a current video with her in it on YouTube. And apparently she was being interviewed on this particular program after not giving interviews for almost 10 years. So it is kind of interesting what she has to say now. And you can go find these videos, look up these authors. And Barbara Marciniak is an internationally acclaimed trance channeler, inspirational speaker, and best-selling author of Bringers of the Dawn, Earth Family of Light, Path of Empowerment, which collectively have been translated into more than 20 languages and have sold over 500,000 U.S. copies. She has a Bachelor of Science degree. So let me just read some of the stuff that I wrote down from watching this interview with her after not giving interviews for about 10 years. And it was published on February 5, 2018. And the site is called The Deluge, which I thought was interesting, like a flood, deluge, D-E-L-U-G-E. An interview with Barbara Marciniak after not giving interviews for a decade. Gives information given by her from the Pleiadians. She says people are breaking paradigms. People are designed to take it to the next level. And let me get my line of reading here correctly. The trance is broken. This is what people apparently are waking up, she's saying. Where do we go now? She says this is what people are saying. The trance is broken. Where do we go now? Take it to the next level. Interviewer says a lot is going on and much is going to be revealed. The entities that she channels, the Pleiadians, say we have to make peace with ourselves and consciousness that occupies our physical form. So the consciousness that occupies our physical form. And I keep saying we're spiritual beings in these biological bodies. So you get the idea here. In order to go forward, you have to love yourself. And that's not easy to do. The interviewer says that it's the hardest thing to do on this planet, to love yourself. I don't get that. Barbara says, she says yes, she agrees. The exercise they suggest is you look in the mirror and have a heart-to-heart talk with yourself. Tell yourself over and over in the mirror, I love you, I love you. And then you'll begin to see what comes up. What do you think? People will want to break eye contact with themselves in the mirror. After looking in the mirror telling yourself, I love you, you start to cry, you don't want to look at it. They will look down. That's the process. What veils and blocks that we have to prevent us from saying I love you. So she's saying some blocks or veils are set up to prevent us from knowing ourselves. Beauty opens our senses and makes us more psychic. Eat well, bless your food. It's an art. She says reality is multidimensional. The golden means ratio is the basis of which reality can be built. She says we are being entertained to death. There's so much to choose from and none of it has much quality. She says society does not like people who contradict what's going on because the media controls everything. They have hijacked everything. None of it is the truth. I had to write this down quickly while I was watching the video. She says there is a desperation in people's souls, and they don't know what to do, and they have given up, and they have lost their own vavum to be individuals, but that's turning, and that's changing, because people have reached the bottom of the emptiness. The Pleiadians taught her, no one is going to come and save you. Nobody is going to come through the dimensions or walk through your doorway, nor is the government going to fix anything. We have to raise our consciousness and get up and do it ourselves. So just a little bit more here, and I have another channel or some short notes I wrote down about what she said. She says the Pleiadians say we are pretty lazy, and they also said we are highly unpredictable, and that's what they love about us. There's no telling when the herd, I guess we people, are going to turn or respond to something. Continuing on, we need to unplug ourselves from the old paradigm. Here we go again with this common denominator. They want to say we all have to walk into this new paradigm, this new world. She says we need to learn how to deal with the new world, resources, innovations, and be clever and deal with the new world. So that's Barbara Marciniak. And another one I was looking at was Myra communicating with the Pleiadians. So I took some notes from the video I was watching with her. But listen to the common denominators, and it does have a repetition of what they're trying to get across. Whatever, demons, angels, whatever, beings, gray aliens, reptilians, or some people working in government intelligence laboratories with electronic equipment trying to bring about this new paradigm where apparently there's going to be a Jewish utopia, temporarily at least, according to Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini in 1880s. When they do bring it all about, it'll be Armageddon and the world will be destroyed and a new world will begin. Apparently something like a Hunger Games movie or something. The elites and the rest of the people, slaves, the ones that are not depopulated. Just my summation of what I've been researching. So it seems. So Myra from Pleiades. Hello, I am Myra. I am in full service to the earth. So Myra is speaking through Valerie Donner. The name Valerie Donner is the human. Myra is the Pleiadian entity. I am in full service to the earth to assist in the message from Myra, to assist in the ascension of the planet. And this is from the Pleiadian High Council via Valerie Donner. And there's several videos here. Maya from the Pleiadians, May 5th. Maya, the Pleiadian channel, March 31, 2017. Duma, the Pleiadian, via Zingdad. So this is Duma, the Pleiadian, with the channeler Zingdad, March 19th. So continue on what Meyer was saying. I greet you today in a new gateway that was just opened today. I greet you today in a new gateway that was just opened today for the ascension process. Do people understand what ascension is? When Jesus was crucified, killed, he ascended, his soul ascended. So even Max Egan made a funny remark in one of his videos recently. He says, they're all talking about ascension. Do they understand what ascension is? When you leave the third dimension and go to the fourth or fifth dimension as a spiritual being, that means they killed you. So these beings just opened up a new gateway that was just opened today for the ascension process. It will allow more expeditious travel between the planetary systems by giving us more access to strategic locations where our help is needed. We will be installing more of these as time progresses. So these Pleiadians, Myra, through Valerie Donner, is saying these things. Should we listen? What should we think? Should we take our time and find out what these popular entities are saying through popular channels, psychics, mediums, speakers, lecturers? Should we care? Is it part of a communist, Zionist, Kabbalistic witchcraft plot? Kind of makes your mind get a little bit confused. We will be installing more of these as time progresses. That's why I brought up the Philadelphia experiment, the electronics, Project Montauk, time tunnels, chemtrail spraying, HARP systems, artificial intelligence, 5G microwave network. Can you see the implications? Sarah Ashcroft, paper on the Hivites. I'll have to look it up, Bellstar. All right, we are coming from a place of strength and confidence. So the Pleiadians are channeling through Valerie Donner, saying they are coming from a place of strength and confidence. And so are you. That's what it says here. There are increasingly numbers of us because we are on our way to Earth to assist in your ascension. There has been much interference by dark ones going where they do not belong. All right, and there was another one here I was reading, somebody else channeling the Pleiadians, channeled by Adele Arini, Adelearini, 12 March 2018. The Human Ascension, March 13, 2018. So I suppose the channeling event was on 12 March and he published the video on 13 March. Okay, he says, get this. This is a channeler going in a trance, speaking from the Pleiadians. My dearest friends, it is with great delight, joy, love that I bring you. The common denominators when you listen to these channelers, these entities channeling through people. I bring you the biggest update in recent times. The time is now for all who are ready to return to love. You, my beloved light workers, have been patiently waiting for this and for a long time. So who's he talking about? For a miraculous event such as this one, which could only occur at a divine time. We, the company of heaven, must wait until the frequency of light, and I'm thinking about the 5G network, HARP systems, artificial intelligence, all this smart meters going on, waiting until the frequency of light on planet Earth is high enough to capture light and trigger the event until everyone who has at a higher level decided to ascend is sufficiently ready. How many cults went off to distant places and they all killed themselves thinking some aircraft was flying a spaceship overhead and they were going to ascend into it. You think they could mind control so many people all over the planet into this stuff? We all have worked hard for this massive project for thousands of Earth years. It feels like eons in your linear concept of time. The amount of highly evolved light beings participating in this grand adventure number in the trillions. So some kind of beings that number in the trillions are involved in this ascension event. Located on both sides of the realm, the physical and the non-physical. So out of these trillions involved, many of them are on this physical earth and many of them are still in the invisible realm. And you are among them. Your dedication, hard work, courage, perseverance, immense victories, overcoming seemingly impossible challenges, and all the experiences that you have gone through. So there was 3 people there channeling. Adele, Arini channeling the Pleiadians. Valerie Donner channeling Myra the Pleiadian. Barbara Marciniak having an interview after not having an interview for about 10 years, giving us an update to what the Pleiadians were saying. There's a couple more pages here. So what I plan on doing the next 24 hours before I make my next live streaming event is go watch some of these other channelers that I've been documenting and see what current news they're telling us. And with these 2 or 3, 4 shows I do on this, we can compare the messages coming from these entities by all these different channelers, different times over the last 10 or 20 years, what they're saying, and to see if they're all saying something similar. And it does seem like it. So let me just talk about this. This is the next one I suppose I need to go look up. Natalie Glasson, Pleiadian Consciousness. Valerie Donner, I just did her. Zigdad, Adama and the Pleiadians. Then you got Nancy Leader talking to the Zetas. Myra the Pleiadian and the Earth Council with Valerie Donner. The Pleiadians, Barbara Marciniak. You can go look these up. I encourage you to go listen. Maya the Pleiadian with Valerie Donner. The Pleiadians with Barbara Marciniak. Myra the Pleiadian High Council. Myra the Pleiadian again. So there you have it. My little discussion today on what's going on in our reality. Another book I just got in the mail. Founding Fathers, Secret Societies, Freemasons, Illuminati, Rosicrucians, and the Decoding of the Great Seal. And I've been reading that book on the Decoding of the Great Seal. The secret symbols of the dollar bill. So apparently, what I've come to a conclusion that this is all connected, everything I've been talking about. It seems that the dollar bill with the unfinished pyramid, and I say this by listening to some well-educated people doing research over the years. Robert Hieronymus, PhD, with Laura Courtner, PhD, smarter guy than I. What's he putting together? Freemasons, Illuminati, Rosicrucians, and Decoding the Great Seal, which is on the dollar bill. So the unfinished pyramid is an unfinished project. So apparently they plan to have the United States, according to what I've been reading, be the new Atlantis. And they want to have a global world order. And they're trying to convince people with these channelers who are saying that Christianity is an older religion. It served its purpose, but it's no longer needed. But it does seem to coincide with the New Age religion and the people 2,000 years ago who had Jesus Christ crucified. And Jesus said to the Pharisees back then, "Ye are of your father the serpent." And there's serpent pictures everywhere we look. So these beings, even in the Egyptian hieroglyphics, are serpent beings. In the Bible, it was a serpent that tempted Adam and Eve. And the gray aliens and all these books behind my head here, 2 whole shelves, over 100 books, talk about abductions and flying craft. So, and they seem to, there's pictures of vortexes opening up in the air like a tunnel, electromagnetic, like I've been talking about, Philadelphia experiment, Project Montauk. And the ship would either come through this vortex, or when it's fleeing away, would open up a vortex in front of it and pop out of existence through the vortex. What does the serpent symbolize? Well, apparently, people draw pictures of what they see. Yes, cavemen drew pictures of what they saw. Ancients drew pictures of what they saw. So one particular artist, a Shama in Peru, was a pretty good drawer, artist. And so a professor from the north brought him some writing utensils, markers, and paper, and said, next time you go into trance, try to remember what you saw and draw pictures. So when you do go into a trance, even the Mexican shamas with Carlos Castellenda in the book Separate Reality, I made a video on his material, went into this other dimension, taking peyote or ayahuasca in Peru. They drew pictures of what they seen in this spiritual reality. And I've been studying the psychic research for years. This is fascinating information. Very bizarre pictures. Lots of serpents. Ayahuasca visions, taking the ayahuasca drug. Even Max Egan, David Icke, many people said they made a visit down to Peru and took some ayahuasca. And they kind of confirmed that these kinds of things can be seen when you leave your body. So what is this other reality? What kind of portals are they opening? And all these channelers, who are Pleiadians, Andromedians, Orions, Reptilian, Gray Aliens? And what is it with the Philadelphia experiment, Jacob's Ladder, Book of Oddities, and many other books documenting things popping in and out of existence? Or with the so-called directed energy beams in California, electromagnetic waves causing fires, destroying everything? Twin Towers? What do the people know behind the scenes in America when they captured all those German scientists after World War II, brought them here and opened up laboratories continuing their research? And they were working with the Thule Society and Vril Society, mystic cults communicating with the other side. Nikolai Tesla saying the same thing. So they continued the Nazi regime's research after World War II here in the United States. Anyways, thank you for watching my live streaming event today. I will prepare more of this material for tomorrow, providing I don't have some emergency business appointment. Have a good day. Thank you for your comments.